Ladies and gentlemen, today we have some very exciting, amazing, interesting updates for upcoming Switch 2 games, as well as previous games, as well as patents, possible leaks there. So let's go ahead and get right into this video. Yeah, as you can see, I'm still overseas. This is the setup for at least a few more weeks, so you gotta deal with it. But the videos will be coming almost daily, not because I have to, but because I truly love making videos. So that's why I'm doing it, obviously. I gotta show you something though. One of my favorite things to do when I'm abroad, yes, find cool gaming stuff, but I love looking for fake gaming products. And I found one of my favorite today. I'm not sure how good the camera will pick this up, but on the surface level you think, well, that's just a Funko Pop. But is it really? Yeah, the name says Mario, and last time I checked, that is not Mario. So this is a fake Toad Mario Funko Pop. The back has some questionable art. Toad has one leg way longer than the other legs, and the guy was confused why I wanted to buy this. It was covered in dust. Even he was confused, like, why the hell do you want this? So I thought I would share that with you guys. But we have a very fun video, so before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would truly mean the world to me. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep our amazing communities growing. And let's go ahead and get right into this video. So the first thing I want to do is talk about one of the most anticipated upcoming Switch 2 games. And the crazy thing is, this was shown off in that very first Nintendo Direct where they revealed the Switch 2, or yeah, the first real Switch 2 Direct, whatever. That is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Now, a thing I always like to remind people, this is not a port of the PS4 version of this game. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade was the PS5 version, and that is in fact the version we're getting on the Switch 2. Now when they first showed off this game, I thought, yeah, it looks good, but you can never tell, right? But it is Square Enix, and I do feel like they actually try to give us some quality ports. But as time has went on and we've got hands-on previews and just more and more, I guess, industry eyes on the game, I don't really know how I'm trying to say this correctly, but as we've seen more things from this game come out, it looks like it's potentially going to be one of the best ports we have on the Switch 2. Now, I know how you see things are subjective and it's art style and art direction and all that stuff, but there is a lot happening on screen. So if this game is running amazing on the Switch 2, I think that's a great benchmark. Today I want to talk about a new comparison, and this comparison is not coming from a YouTuber or a random person on Reddit or on Twitter or whatever. This is coming from the developers. They released a video showing 4 versions of this game, and it's PS5, PC, Xbox Series X, and Nintendo Switch 2. Now what I find very funny is there was a lot of people in the comments on like Reddit and maybe on Twitter as well I was reading, but people were like, yeah, I think they messed up because they're just showing 4 of the same exact version over and over again. And at first glance, I'm like, yeah, I don't really see a difference in these. But honestly, isn't that a good thing? That just shows how good the quality of this game is. And then, obviously, if this game is going to run fine, with some tweaking, Rebirth is going to run fine. And then whenever Part 3 is, I would say I don't think it's going to happen, or at least that's what I initially said. But the producers came out and said all 3 versions will in fact be on the Nintendo Switch 2. So even though I beat this game on my PS5 and the Switch 2 version is a game key card, I am very tempted to pick this one up again. Now before we get into some more updates and leaks and all that good stuff, a little PSA. Kind of strange timing. One of the most sought after Switch games is a game that wasn't rare. It wasn't hard to find initially. That was until Nintendo said, let's do something that doesn't make any sense. And I guess they were playing the long game for Galaxy and Galaxy 2, but that is Super Mario 3D All-Stars. When the game came out, it was $60. You could find it everywhere. It was on the eShop. You could buy it physically. Now, it's just nowhere, right? Resale prices are like over $100 physically, and you can't buy it digitally. But over the past week, I have seen multiple retail listings showing this game off. So I'm putting it on the screen right now. This is Walmart showing that you can buy this game digitally for your Nintendo Switch as well as your Switch 2, but it is just a Switch version of the game. And I think I might have seen it on Best Buy as well. So if you want to buy this game and you never could, this is your opportunity. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Now, speaking of upcoming Switch 2 games, another game I was very excited for and then lost all excitement for was Elden Ring. I bought it on my PS5. I was a little intimidated because I'm not really into the whole Souls-like genre, and I sold my copy before I opened it. I got it on like Black Friday or something. But I thought, I get into games easier handheld, so I'll just pick it up for the Switch 2. And then we've seen the whole discourse around this game on the Switch 2. It's a nightmare. It's running at like 15 frames per second. The developers ruined the game or something or another. But then we heard other people say, no, I played it and it was okay. But then we heard nothing, which I think is more alarming than hearing something negative. Now we have another update. Kind of got me back on track here. So this is a post I found over on the Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit. But it says, I got to play Elden Ring on the Switch 2. I wasn't allowed to take photos or videos, so there's no footage, but I can definitely say that the frame rate was stable, 30 frames per second in handheld mode. Maron, that's all I need to hear. That is perfect. The console I used was also some kind of developer hardware. It showed a notification from every system UI action, and there was an icon on the home screen saying something containing the word dev. So we are in October, the end of October. This game, multiple times, I think they said it was coming out in 2025. Do they make this a holiday title, the end of November? I mean, I think that would be the smartest thing if it's ready to go. If we don't see it there, I think we see it at that first big Nintendo Direct of March. And honestly, man, if they need time to let it cook, let it cook. You know what I mean? You can play it on other consoles. I do want to play it. I was pretty bummed when we heard the updates about it. I think I'm going to be optimistic though, because of what we've seen with Star Wars Outlaws. I was one of the people saying, do not buy this game. It is not great quality. The developers are taking shortcuts and just making some money. I am very happy when I'm wrong like that. Now, I wasn't going to buy the game no matter what because I just don't care about Star Wars Outlaws. Elden Ring, I do care about. I want to get into it. I think it's something I would sink hundreds of hours into. I want to play the DLC. So I want this game to be good, right? So this is just a random update over on Reddit, but I do think it's something we can take at face value. Now, something that's very funny. I cover game leaks all the time. You guys know this. I like looking up patents. You guys also know that. One thing I do not ever do is like go on Twitter and say, look what I found, credit me. Make sure you guys say that I'm the one who found this. I just don't really care. But you guys message me all the time on Instagram. I would show some messages, but I'm not going to like put your guys' privacy out there. But you guys will message me and be like, dude, look, people are talking about this patent. You talked about it 2 weeks ago. Kind of crazy stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. But I just don't care about being first to talk about something or really to get the credit for it. I just like making videos, you know what I mean? I don't think I'm a journalist or anything. But a lot of you guys were saying people are talking about this, so what are your thoughts on it now that everybody's talking about it? And what I'm talking about is that patent going around where people are thinking it has to do with a Nintendo DS or possibly 3DS and possibly 3DS coming over to the Switch 2. I don't really think much about it because it makes too much sense. We could have got at least a DS and the 3DS as well on the Switch, but at least a DS, right? Now, does that mean we get a second accessory? Do they do like some half screen thing, like half the screen you play on and half the screen you touch screen? They could have did something. I do think possibly with Game Share, the technology there would make this easier or be part of how this is going to work. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be putting some pictures on the screen right now of this patent. We got to think, right? Nintendo showed off the Virtual Boy. And I did call that like 3 weeks before it happened again because of patents I found in the anniversary and all that good stuff. 3 weeks before they showed off the Virtual Boy, I said it's coming back. Crazy to say that, but I did say it. But let's be real. Nintendo is bringing back the Virtual Boy in 2026. And the only reason they're bringing it back is to sell that stupid ass accessory, right? So it is what it is. We want the DS, we want the 3DS. Seeing that Virtual Boy accessory, I think Nintendo would also do some kind of DS or second screen accessory. I don't know how it would work because the Switch 2's battery is not great. That thing would surely cut it in half, and then you're looking at what, an hour of gameplay? You know what I mean? So if it does happen, which a lot of people are thinking that's what these patents are, and I'm not saying it's not, I think this would come after we get that first refresh. If we get a Switch 2 OLED, or I think we got the Switch and then we got the version 2 Switch with a better battery, I think that's when we would see something like this potentially. So whenever we get that next Switch 2, which I think would be like the middle or end possibly of 2026, after they hit the first fiscal year and get those 15 or 20 million Switch 2s out, whatever, that next batch that they would manufacture, I think that's when we will get the better battery. And then potentially then we could see some kind of DS and then 3DS. I am excited, and I do think it will eventually come, as well as Wii, maybe even the Wii U one day down the line. But I've seen a lot of people getting excited and saying, dude, is 3DS coming? Is DS coming? You talked about this weeks ago, this patent, whatever. Is this actually happening? As much as I would like that to happen, I just don't see it happening anytime soon, because it would hurt the sales for the Virtual Boy. You know what's funny? The Virtual Boy might be the first console in history to flop twice. And I truly believe that's going to be the case. It might be some kind of novelty thing. Like if I could find the accessory for 50 or 40 bucks brand new, I might buy it and just put it on the shelf, never open it. $100, that's crazy. Then you have to have the expansion pass, which I do have, but if they do a second screen for the 3DS, DS, whatever, Nintendo Online stuff, bare minimum, we're looking at $100 there. What if they make that screen an OLED if we have an OLED model, or they do an LCD screen only, or, you know, there's logistics here that just, I don't think we're thinking about. I do admit I'm overthinking this a little too much, but when we were looking into the Switch 2, we had all these crazy ideas and beliefs and wondering, is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? 9 times out of 10, we were kind of let down. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this, but I do think eventually it will show up one day during the Switch 2 generation, just not in the next year. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this? Because your opinion matters most. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. If you made it all the way to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe. Follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter so we can keep the communities growing. That would be really cool. And you guys know me, I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.